Hello everyone, in the last few episodes you've seen me trying to work on my Agavoides area, which still doesn't have a proper name. And because we've been so unlucky with the weather, that's been raining on and off for the past few weeks, then I have been unable to completely work on my Agavoides area, and I need a name for that. So I ended up having to work on other bits. Now, one of the few things that I mentioned in the past few episodes is that yes, the show is coming up. It's a few more months from now. It is currently August, October, 2 more months. The show is on October. We have 2 more months to prepare, and I think now is a good time to start thinking about the pots if I haven't yet. I've already gotten a few pots a few months ago, but I definitely need to find more because I'm bringing a lot more plants than what I shown you before. So as I said in the previous episode, if you're in Victoria, I implore you to join me in my campaign to make Echeveria a lot more represented in the show. Hopefully we create a lot more classes for Echeveria. You might see that little patch of blue in the sky. It was sunny earlier, but looking at the forecast, we are expecting some showers maybe tonight and tomorrow and throughout the weekend. And that means that I might not be able to work on my Agavoides area, but it's quite windy, which would help with the drying process. So I'm hopeful that I'll be able to do something by this weekend. So we'll see. I've been wanting so bad to finish at Agavoides area, but unfortunately due to bad weather, I have been forced to delay my releases because there's not much I can do about that. I can't control the weather yet. But luckily there's a lot of other things that I could do, things that I have been pushing out because again, I really wanted to work on the Agavoides area, but unfortunately that's not really on the table right now thanks to the weather. So let's work on the other tasks. I've listed a bunch of things here in my to-do list, and the first one in the list is plant mail. So if you're part of my Facebook Cerriscapades group, I have a page and a group, discussion group, then you would know that one kind soul, one very generous lady, she has sent me plant mail. And not just any plant mail, she sent the Echeveria West Rainbow. I'm pretty sure some of you would know what it looks like. It's a variegated Echeveria, I think a variegated version of the Pearl von Nunberg. Was it? It looks a lot like the Pearl von Nunberg, only variegated. I don't really feel good accepting it without giving something in return, so I'm going to treat this as a plant swap via mail. So I'll be going to pick around some plants that I'll be giving in return. Let's go. Now the first one that I'm including is this Echeveria Fire and Ice. It is one of my few remaining specimens. I think I still have 2 more, and I specifically picked this one not because this is the smallest, but of course, well, yeah, it would be more convenient for me to wrap the smallest one and it would save me in postage costs. But at the same time, despite being the smallest one from my collection, it has a couple of pops underneath if you look closely. Focus please, focus. There. So it has 2 pops here. My more mature ones don't have pops yet. So yeah, this is definitely a deal. Actually, if I look around, there are 3 pops growing. So yeah, you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4 plants in one package. Now I'm going to add a few more plants to go with it, but I'm not going to show you because I'm sure you'll be watching this video. I want it to be a surprise. So here's the Fire and Ice that I'll be giving out, and this contains all of the plants that was sent to me, the plant mail. And here it is, the Echeveria West Rainbow. And together with that, she also sent me a crested sunburst, Aeonium Sunburst. This is a cutting of Crassula Surprise Party. And if you recall, I also received something like this from Gloria previously. Doesn't hurt to have more. And she also sent me this crested Graptopetalum of some sort. I would say Paraguayense, because those things usually, those things would usually crest. And I probably have to plant this really soon. Apart from that, she has sent me a bunch of leaves from her Echeveria Aquarius. I'm not sure if they would strike, but you know, it's free. Here are more leaves. So yeah, it never hurts to try. And it fell. But since we're already here, I would like to show you some progress of my seedlings. So here's 2 trays. This one is about 10 months now. It contains Echeveria elegans seedlings. And this other tray, I harvested the seeds about a month after, so they would be 9 months now. And as you would know, August is the final month of winter down here in the southern hemisphere. So from next month onwards, they would start to be growing faster, getting out of their dormancy, which means that I would have to start moving them out into larger containers. But I won't be doing that right now. It's still quite cold anyway, and I don't want them to endure the stress of being transferred, you know, especially since these are quite small plants, and moving them now would not really be a good idea because they won't be able to regrow their roots anyway. So yeah, I'll be doing this in September next month, and until then I'll have to make sure, I'll just have to hope that they do not die. But hey, look, I've been doing a good job so far. They haven't died in winter, they haven't dried out, they haven't rotten. So I call this a win. There's another thing that I had to do in terms of seedlings, and if you recall, I pollinated a second batch, another batch of Zorro seedlings, Zorro crosses. Yeah, I think I would call them Zorro crosses. And I can't remember, I don't have my notes here right now. I can't remember what I cross-pollinated them with, but I think in one of my past episodes I would have noted them in the video, so I just have to look back into that episode and see which crosses I made. Let me show you that plant. So here we are at the Patreon shrine. I'm standing next to my Echeveria Zorro. This is currently the largest Echeveria in my collection, and I want my Echeverias really large, which is why I picked this as the seed parent of my next set of hybrids, my Gibiflora hybrids. So as you can see, I've got this one remaining flower stalk here. I removed all of the others, as you can see here, and mainly because I want it to be a lot easier for me to figure out which ones I pollinated, and at the same time I want to be able to keep track of which flowers were pollinated by myself and which ones weren't. I made some markings along the stems here, and I wrote it down somewhere and noted it in my video which pairs I used, but unfortunately I haven't reviewed that video yet, so I'll have to get back to it. And another thing that I have to confess is that I only pollinated the first set of flowers here. I was meaning to go back and pollinate the rest, but unfortunately I never had the time, mainly because it was always raining and it was so cold. It was uncomfortable staying out in the garden. What this means is that I only have one shot per pair that I pollinated. I only have one flower pod. So what I'm going to do is to harvest the second set. I'm pretty sure that the ones that I pollinated myself are the outermost ones, but I'm not yet sure if they are ready. They look like they have started drying out, but they still look a bit juicy to me. So what I'm going to do is to pick out the next set of flowers and see what the state of the seeds are at the moment, and that would give me a rough idea of how my pollinated flowers are doing. So I'll just go grab a piece of paper. So So you're probably wondering what this piece of paper, or at least sheet of paper towel, is for. Then it's basically just me finding a container or something to place them in that would contrast. So some of the seeds, or at least the flowers, are quite dark, and white would help me look at them, you know, see them. And I've picked out my first flower here, and it looks like it's still really juicy. It's left a stain on my paper towel, so that's another reason why I use paper, because the stains are a lot easier to see. I'm wondering if the rest are the same. I think a rule of the thumb that I made for myself before is that I have to look at the sepals, or this leaf-like things surrounding the flowers, the petals. And right now they are still very juicy, very watery, which it might indicate the state of, I don't know, the state of maturity of the seeds inside. So what I'm going to do is, I took a couple for now. I'll leave the rest in, and I'll have a look and see what the seeds look like at the moment. So let's go back there. As you can probably hear in the background, it's quite windy outside, so I have this semi-protected area where I am trying to block the wind, and I've got the paper towel, the sheet of paper towel, held down with the trays and my phone here. And let's start opening the pods. So as you can see here, clearly the seed pods are still quite wet. It's still bright green, and I don't think it's ready. You can see how juicy it is. You would want this to be a lot less juicy. I think the only word that I can think of is juicy, and it's really wet and sticky. Something that, no, this won't work. This won't work. You'll be able to see the seeds here, the white. They're on my nails now. They are still quite, really wet. They stick to each other. They form clumps. Not really good. I'm not sure if this is focusing well. Can I? Here. There. So you can clearly see that it's still clumping, and these are not ready. Ideally, well, at least with this ones here, what you would want to have is something that maybe still white, but less wet than this one, less clumping. So it's still too early, and I was originally thinking of chopping off the flower stalk and placing them here, you know, dissect them. And luckily I didn't go through with that idea, because I still need them. I still need to give them some time to dry out, to mature even more. And at the same time, it's so windy, I wouldn't be able to work on them properly. So yeah, I'm just checking out the second one here, but so far it looks the same. Yep, I was right. So the seed pod, still too light, so juicy. Yep, everything is clumping, everything is sticky, so we can't work with this yet. I'm so glad I went with this approach, where I took the adjacent flowers and didn't destroy my only chance at getting a harvest. So yeah, I should write this down somehow. So based on my to-do list, that looks like that's 3 things done. The first one was the plant mail and picking out the plants. Second is looking at the seedlings. They're doing good. Third is harvest seeds. That was a bust. I can't do anything about it right now. And the next thing is potential names for the Agavoides area. Now, I mentioned that I'm maintaining a short list, and I've been looking at your suggestions both on my Facebook group, on my Facebook page, and on my YouTube comments, of course. I've gotten a few. I've narrowed it down to 3 entries and 3 potential names, and I want you to help me pick from it, because I think all of them are good ideas. So the first one is from Kate, and her suggestion was to use Agavoideville. Agavoideville. So this name is quite interesting because it is a portmanteau, like Cerriscapades. It's words put together. From the suffix ville, it means a city. It's in French origin, so you probably encountered it already. A lot of names, a lot of games, a lot of stuff have ville added at the end to signify a city or a population of it. So it's like I'm creating a little city of Agavoides, so Agavoideville makes sense. And based on my notes, Agavoideville sounds like it is a village of Agavoides. It literally describes what it is, you know? Just from the name you would know, you would get context of what it is about. And I don't have to explain it anymore. I get this picture in my head of a peaceful village filled with rainbows and sunshine, where all of the Agavoides are living in harmony together. Everything is neat, laid back, and just simply lovely. So at least that's a mental image I get when I hear the word Agavoideville. Now, how should I pronounce it? Agavoideville or Agavoideville? I know. And the next suggestion is from Lala. She actually sent a few ideas out there. She just threw them against the wall and see what stuck. One of them stuck. So my takeaway from that was Chakavoides. So instead of Agavoides, it's Chakavoides. Now, to be honest, her suggestions were, and these are quite silly: Chakavoides sucks, avoid Chuck sucks, Chuck sucks, Chuck sucks. So there's a fixation on the succulent part of it. But I really like the first suggestion with, it was Chakavoides sucks, but removing the sucks. Chakavoides, it is another portmanteau. I really love portmanteaus. I would use it everywhere if I could. It has my name in it, and it also says what type of plants are in it. So it seems a bit self-explanatory and overall very, very silly. So yeah, if I was going for the silly factor, then definitely this one works. And to be honest, the more I think about it, the more it's really out there, man. But I like it because it fits squarely with my type of humor, like a childish dad. Well, I am a childish dad, but yeah, it sounds like something I would do anyway, you know? That sort of name. And finally, on a more serious and menacing tone, the third idea was something that I was thinking. I had this in the back of my head for quite a while, and just to simply call it the void. It sounds so intimidating, sounds ironically menacing, especially if you use it in the context of gardening, you know? Funny in a way. But the reason why I am thinking of something menacing or intimidating is because Agavoides are spiky, you know, their shape. So it looks like if someone were, imagine that the Agavoides were really hard, and if someone was to fall on it, then they would be pierced by all of those Agavoides in the bed. Yeah. And you would be thrown into the void. But unfortunately, the name itself, it does not explain exactly what it is. You know, just reading the name, you wouldn't know. It is my Agavoides display. Maybe you could get it from the word void, but it would be hard to point them together, or at least it would be hard to pinpoint that meaning without any context. But that is exactly why I like it, because the void, it's so mysterious, it's menacing, intimidating. You don't know what it is, so you'll have to look, you'll have to check it out to be able to understand what it is. So I think a little air of mystery with the name would help with giving it a bit more intrigue. So yeah, I'm going for a bit of the intrigue and mystery factor in here. So what do you think? What should we name this area? So the three choices are Agavoideville, second would be Chakavoides, and the third would be simply Void or the Void. Let me know in the comments, or I'll be creating a poll, I don't know. Yeah, let me know in the comments. Another thing I've been meaning to do is to prepare some of my show plants. I'm planning to bring some aeoniums, and I think now is a good time to prepare my aeoniums since it's still their growing season. One of those that I want to prepare is this one. This is an Echeveria, not Echeveria, Aeonium Sunburst, and you can tell because the streaks are in the middle as opposed to both the surrounding sides. Now I have to prepare this one because, as you can see, it's starting to get dry underneath, and actually under the crown there's a bit of rot going on. So I need to chop it and separate it from the rot and hope that it recovers before summer. So I think there should be enough time for this to regrow until the show. We have more than enough time, I think, because I say that because it has already started growing roots. So chopping it now would not really be an issue. Yeah. I think I'd like to change things up a bit. So I'm recording this voiceover while editing this video, and you might be able to hear my kids in the background, or not. And I'm going to call this our time-lapse chats, where I get to talk about anything I want while the other me works in the background. So in this time-lapse chat, I'd like to talk to you about the delays in the past few episodes. As mentioned in the beginning of this video, we've been getting crazy weather, so I don't really get a chance to play out in the garden during weekends. I can't wait for spring to come because not only is it less rainy, but also the daylight is longer, which means that I also get to play in the garden during weekdays after work. Also, with spring coming up, this means that we're approaching season 3 of Let's Plant. We're about to end our second year. With the start of the third year coming up, I think it would be nice to reflect on the past 2 years. I know for a fact that episode 0 and 1 of Let's Plant came out in the 20th and 21st of September 2017 respectively. I remember these dates because I filmed them during the weekend right after my birthday. Yes, I'm a September baby. A lot has changed to my video style through the years, and it's a whole lot of cringe trying to watch some of my old ones, but overall, it was a fun experience. We're almost reaching the end of this time lapse, so I'm going to shut up now. Here's the Agavoides clump that I repotted. I'm glad that's done. Now, you might remember Cori, my friend Cori, who runs the channel 87 Walker. He has started, we have been communicating a lot recently, especially since he has started, I think the Echeveria fever has rubbed off of him. So he is now starting to boost, to enlarge his Echeveria collection. You could check out his video, his latest video showing off his new Echeverias. And yeah, he's blaming it entirely on me. So check out his channel, link would be somewhere around here in the description. Hopefully he joins the Echeveria army this October. So I'm going to place this one in together with the rest of its Agavoides siblings, because I just think they look so nice all in one place. Ah, that was so heavy. There's one last thing for me to do, and that's to prepare my presentation for a talk. Well, I've got recently invited to speak with some friends at a club in, well, the club is in San Antonio, Texas, in the USA. So it's going to be an online call. And yeah, it's quite exciting. I am going to work on my topic now. So I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Cerriscapades is made possible with the support of my Patreon sponsors. Patreon allows you to support content creators like me with a small monthly donation. You can pledge your support by heading over to patreon.com/Cerriscapades. If you're in Australia, I've got some of my plants for sale. Check out my plant shop at cerriscapades.com/theplant shop with dashes.